Long-term versus short-term thinking, the promise of tomorrow. The council chamber overlooked a crowded city square where commuters hurried toward buses and trains. Inside, the debate had been running for nearly 3 hours. At the center of it stood a proposal that had divided the city. Mayor Lena Hoffmann adjusted her glasses and looked around the room. "We need to think beyond the next election cycle," she said. "The choices we make today will shape this city 20 years from now." On the table before her lay a thick policy report outlining a series of reforms. Expanded social welfare programs, housing subsidies, and new initiatives designed to integrate thousands of recently arrived immigrants into the workforce. Supporters believed the plan would transform the city over time. Critics believed the costs would be felt immediately. Political disagreements often arise not only from different values but also from different time horizons. Some people evaluate policies primarily through long-term outcomes, how decisions made today might benefit society decades later. Others focus on immediate consequences, the practical effects on institutions, communities, and resources in the present. Both approaches reflect reasonable concerns, but when they collide, the same policy can appear either visionary or reckless, depending on the perspective. Mayor Hoffmann believed the city faced a demographic reality. Birth rates had been declining for years. Local industries warned of labor shortages. Economists argued that attracting new workers could help sustain economic growth and maintain the tax base needed to support aging populations. "If we invest in integration now," Lena said during the meeting, "we will gain skilled workers, entrepreneurs, and taxpayers in the future." She tapped the report. "The short-term costs are real, but the long-term benefits could be enormous." Her allies nodded. For them, the proposal represented a forward-looking investment in the city's future. Across the table, Councilman Eric Brandt flipped through the same report with a skeptical expression. "No one here denies the long-term potential," he said, "but the people living in this city today are already feeling pressure." He pointed towards several highlighted sections. Housing demand had increased sharply. School systems were struggling to accommodate new students. Municipal budgets were being stretched by expanded services. "These are not theoretical problems," Eric said. "They're happening right now." To him, the plan seemed to assume that long-term benefits would eventually outweigh present-day costs, but he worried that those costs might accumulate faster than the benefits arrive. The policy passed after months of debate. Integration programs expanded, language schools opened across the city, new housing projects were approved to accommodate population growth. At first, the results were mixed. Some newcomers quickly found work in construction, healthcare, and service industries. Local businesses welcomed the additional labor, but other parts of the system struggled. Public transportation became more crowded. Waiting lists for affordable housing grew longer. Teachers in several districts reported classrooms filled beyond capacity. Residents began to argue about whether the city had moved too quickly. Supporters of the policy emphasized the long-term trajectory. "Economic growth takes time," Mayor Hoffmann said during an interview. "We are building the foundation for a stronger city decades from now." Critics focused on the present reality. "If the system becomes unstable today," Eric argued in a council debate, "the future benefits may never arrive." Each side believed its perspective was the more responsible one. Supporters believed critics lacked patience and vision. Critics believed supporters underestimated the immediate strain on institutions and communities. 10 years later, the city looked different. Several immigrant-owned businesses had become successful. The labor market had expanded. New cultural festivals filled the streets each summer. At the same time, housing shortages persisted, and political tensions had grown among residents who felt the pace of change had been too fast. Neither side could claim complete vindication. The policy had produced both benefits and challenges. Some predicted, others unexpected. The conflict between short-term caution and long-term optimism appears throughout modern political debates. Policies designed to address complex social problems often involve trade-offs between present costs and future possibilities. Supporters emphasize the potential for progress if societies are willing to endure temporary difficulty. Critics emphasize the risk that institutions may be weakened before those future benefits appear. Both concerns are grounded in real-world experience, and because the future cannot be known with certainty, societies must constantly decide how much risk they are willing to accept today in the hope of improvement tomorrow.